Data Action Plan presentation. An overview. My team and I collected data from the DIBELS assessment. We then triangulated the data and analyzed and identified learning and instructional gaps. We made a goal for students to increase scores on the mid-year assessment, including resources and methods for doing so. We then presented this plan to the mentor teachers for feedback. The grade was kindergarten. The content was reading, and we were in Brownsville Elementary School. The demographics of Brownsville Elementary School include 44.8% of students economically disadvantaged, 21.9% of students are in special education, and 53% of the students are male and 47% are female. The types of data that we used were the DIBELS test scores, the assessment of early childhood literacy, and evaluation of first sound fluency and letter naming fluency. For the first data meeting, my group and I observed and analyzed data from the DIBELS assessment. We then completed the notice and wonder statements. From these statements, we developed exploratory questions before deciding on one question as a group. Our exploratory question that we chose to investigate was, why was there such a significant difference between student scores? Because this is a baseline assessment, there was no other data available to provide insight to this question. So we made the decision to attempt to collect and examine more data that would help us answer our exploratory question. For the second data meeting, we identified the information from the artifacts as either instructional or learning gaps, and we rated the significance and prominence of each. And we determined that they were all learning gaps because we were unable to observe any instructional gaps, and we decided to rate each artifact with a 5 for significance because the skills are important and the prominence of the gaps vary between the artifacts. For the third data meeting, we listed each learning gap and instructional gap based on the review of data in the previous meeting, and we prioritized which ones were the most prominent and the most significant. And we decided that both of them were equally significant and prominent, and we decided that they can use methods such as songs, matching games, and a DIBELS intervention tool. For the fourth data meeting, we made our goal, which was, when given the DIBELS assessment, the DIBELS middle year benchmark assessment, the student will increase letter naming fluency scores by 25% by the end of the second quarter. Our instructional tactics were learning the alphabet with songs, matching letter shapes to letter names, letter sequencing, building fluency in letter recognition and naming. And we concluded that all 4 methods should be done frequently in the whole group instruction, as well as small group and individualized instruction. So our next step was to meet and share this information with our mentor teachers. My mentor teacher didn't suggest any revisions, so no revisions were made. And from this project, I feel more comfortable with working with professional learning communities in order to review and triangulate data, and it showed the importance of analyzing multiple sources of data to increase validity. And triangulating data is critical for ensuring that proper decisions are being made when it comes to adapting instruction based on students' needs, and for making sure that the data that you gather is valid, because multiple different forms of assessment provide more accurate insight to what students know and understand. And my strengths from this project are working with a team in order to analyze data and make decisions. I feel confident in my ability to make decisions that are what is best for the students, and I feel confident in identifying learning gaps and instructional gaps. But for areas of growth, knowing which type of data is relevant for the question I'm investigating, having a strong understanding of my own student strengths, and making proper changes based on instructional and learning gaps. Because one type of assessment a student might be really strong in, and then another type they might not be as strong in. So I need to get better at analyzing which ones they're good at and which ones they need more help with to make better decisions for instruction.